Part 6, Postal Power. The UPU, Universal Postal Union in Bern, Switzerland, is an extremely significant organization in today's world. It is formulated by treaty. No nation can be recognized as a nation without being an international admiralty in order to have a forum common to all nations for engaging in commerce and resolving disputes. That is why the United States of America, under the Articles of Confederation, could not be recognized as a country. Every state colony was sovereign with its own common law, which foreclosed other countries from interacting with the United States of America as a nation in international commerce. Today, International Admiralty is the private jurisdiction of the International Monetary Fund, among others, the creditor in the bankruptcy of essentially every government on earth. The Universal Postal Union operates under the authority of treaties with every country in the world. It is, as it were, the overlord or overseer over the common interaction of all countries in international commerce. Every nation has a postal system and also has reciprocal banking and commercial relationships, whereby all are within and under the UPU. The UPU is the #1 military, International Admiralty is also military, contract mover on the planet. For this reason, one should send all important legal and commercial documents to the post office rather than the private carriers, which are firewalls. We want direct access to the authority and corresponding availability of remedy and recourse of the UPU. For instance, if you post through the U.S. Post Office and the U.S. Postmaster does not provide you with the remedy you request within 21 days, you can take the matter to the UPU. Involving the authority of the UPU is automatically invoked by the use of postage stamps. Utilization of stamps includes putting stamps on any documents for clout purposes, not mailing, we wish to introduce into the system. As long as you use a stamp of any kind, you are in the game. If you have time, resources, and the luxury of dealing with something well before expiration of a given time frame, you can use stamps that you consider ideal. The most preferable stamps are ones that are both large and contain the most colors. In an emergency situation, or simply if economy is a consideration, any stamp will do. Using a postage stamp and autograph on it makes you the postmaster for that contract. Whenever you put a stamp on a document, inscribe your full name over the stamp at an angle. The color ink you use for this is a function of what color will show up best against the colors in the stamp. Ideal colors for doing this are purple, which is royalty, blue, which is the origin of the bond, and gold, King's Edict. Avoid red at all costs. Obviously, if you have a dark, multicolored stamp, you do not want to use purple or blue ink, since your autograph on it would not stand out as well if you use lighter color ink. Ideally, one could decide on the best color for his autograph and then obtain stamps that best suit one's criteria and taste. Although a dollar stamp is best, it is a luxury unless one is well off financially. Otherwise, reserve the use of dollar stamps for crucial instruments such as travel documents. The rationale for using 2-cent stamps is that in the 19th century, the official postage rate for the de jure post office of the United States of America was fixed at 2 cents. For stamps to carry on one's person for any kind of unexpected encounter or emergency use, this denomination might be ideal. Use stamps on important documents such as a check, travel documents, paperwork you put into court, etc. Where to put the stamp and how many stamps to use depend on the document. On foundational documents and checks, for instance, put a stamp on the right-hand corner of the instrument, both on the front and on the back. The bottom right-hand corner of the face of a check, note, or bill of exchange signifies the liability. Furthermore, the bottom right-hand corner on the reverse side of the document is the final position on the page, so no one can endorse anything, using a restricted endorsement or otherwise after that. You want to have the last word. If you have only one stamp, put it where you're expected to sign an autograph over it crosswise. In the case of a traffic ticket, for instance, put a stamp on the lower right-hand corner where you're supposed to sign an autograph across the stamp at an angle. Autographing a stamp not only establishes you as the postmaster of the contract, but constitutes a cross-claim. Using the stamp process on documents presents your adversaries with a problem because their jurisdiction is subordinate to that of the UPU, which you have now invoked for your benefit. The result in practice of doing this is that whenever those who know what you are doing are recipients of your documents with autographed stamps, they back off. If they do not, take the matter to the U.S. Postmaster to deal with. If he will not provide you with your remedy, take the matter to the UPU for them to clean up. The countries whose stamps would be most effective to use are China, Japan, United States, and Great Britain. Utilizing these countries covers both the East and West. However, since the U.S. seems to be the point man in implementing the New World Order, one might most advisably use U.S. stamps. If you put stamps on documents you submit into court, put a stamp on the back of each page at the bottom right-hand corner. Do not place any stamps on the front of court paperwork, since doing so alarms the clerk. By placing your autographed stamp on the reverse right-hand corner, you prevent from being damaged by one of the tricks of judges these days. A judge might have your paperwork on his bench, but turned over so only the backside, which is ordinarily blank on every page, is visible. Then if you ask about your paperwork, he might say something like, "Yes, I have your paperwork in front of me, but I don't find anything." He can't see anything on the blank side of a page. If you place an autographed stamp on the lower right-hand corner, you foreclose the judge from engaging in this trick. In addition, when it comes to court documents, one side is criminal and the other is civil. Using the autographed stamp that you rubber stamp with your seal, bullet stamp, on the backside of your court documents is evidence that you possess the counseled obligation on the civil side. Since there can be no assessment for criminal charges, and you show that you are the holder of the civil assessment, there is no way out for the court. Also, in any court document you put in, handwrite your EIN number, your social security number without dashes, in gold on the top right-hand corner of every page, with the autograph stamp on the back side. Use of a notary combined with the postage stamp, and sometimes embassy stamps, gives you a priority mechanism. Everything is commerce, and all commerce is contract. The master of the contract is the post office, and the UPU is the supreme overlord of the commerce, banking, and postal systems of the world. Use of these stamps in this manner gets the attention of those in the system to whom you provide your paperwork. It makes you the master of the post office. Use of the stamp is especially important when dealing with the major players, such as the FBI, CIA, and Secret Service, Treasury, etc. They understand the significance of what you are doing. Many times they hand documents back to someone using this approach and say, "Have a good day, sir." They don't want any untoward repercussions coming back on them. If anyone asks you why you are doing what you are doing, suggest that they consult their legal counsel for the significance. It is not your job to explain the law, nor explain such things as your exemption or set-off account. The system hangs us by our own words. We have to give them the evidence, information, contacts, and legal determinations they require to convict us. The wise words of Calvin Coolidge, the most taciturn president in U.S. history, are apt. When asked why he spoke so little, he replied, "I have never been hurt by anything I didn't say." The bottom line is that whenever you need to sign any legal commercial document, put a stamp, even a 1-cent stamp, over where you sign and sign it at an angle across it. Let the recipient deal with the significance and consequences of your actions. If you're in a court case or at any stage of a proceeding, such as an indictment, summons, complaint, or any other hostile encounter with the system, immediately do the following. Number 1, make a color copy of whatever documents you receive or scan them in color into your computer. Number 2, stamp the original on the first page of every document with the AR for V stamp. Put a postage stamp in the signature space and autograph across it at an angle with your full name, using purple or blue ink, handwritten with upper and lower case, with your gold ink bullet stamp sealed on the upper left-hand portion of the postage stamp. Make a color copy of the stamped autograph pages and or scan into your computer. Number 3, put a stamp on the lower right-hand corner of the back of every page and bullet stamp and autograph it. Number 4, have a notary send each document back to the sender with a notarial certificate of service, with or without an accompanying/supporting affidavit by you. Number 5, if you have an affidavit, put an autograph stamp on the upper right-hand corner of the first page and the lower right-hand corner on the back of every page. People who have engaged in this process report that when any knowledgeable judge, attorney, or official sees this, matters change dramatically. All of these personages know what mail fraud is. Since autographing the stamp makes you the postmaster of the contract, anyone who interferes is tampering with the mail and engaging in mail fraud. You can then subpoena the postmaster, either the post office from which the letter was mailed or the U.S. Postmaster General, or both, and have them explain what the rules are under deposition or testimony on the witness stand in open court. In addition, most of the time when you get official communication, it has a red meter postage mark on the envelope rather than a canceled stamp. This act is mail fraud. If the envelope has a red meter postage mark on it, they are the ones who've engaged in mail fraud because there is no canceled stamp. It is the canceled stamp that has the power. An uncanceled stamp has nothing. A red meter postage mark is an uncanceled stamp. It is not canceled. It is not paid. One researcher has scanned everything into a computer and has more red meter postage marks than he can shake a stick at. Officials sending things out by canceled stamp is a rarity, perhaps at most 2%. With a red meter postage, you can trace each communication back to the post office from which it was sent. So you can get the postmaster for that post office, as well as the Postmaster General for the U.S., to investigate the mail fraud involved. It is reasonable to conclude that canceling a stamp both registers the matter and forms a contract between the party that cancels the stamp and the UPU. Using a stamp for postage without canceling it is prima facie evidence that the postmaster of the local post office is committing mail fraud by taking a customer's money and not providing the paid-for service, and providing you with the power of a canceled stamp as required under the provisions of the UPU. When you place an autographed stamp on a document, you place that document and the contract underlying it under international law and treaty, with which the courts have no jurisdiction to deal. The system cannot deal with the real you, the living principle, as evidenced and witnessed by jury, nor can officials, attorneys, judges, among others, go against the UPU, international law and treaty. In addition, they have no authority/jurisdiction to impair a contract between you, as the living principle, and the UPU, overseer of all world commerce. You cancel the stamp by sealing it and autographing across it. You did so in capacity of being the living principle as acknowledged by your seal and the jurat on your documents. If you are in a court case, bring in your red metered envelopes in court and request the judge to direct the prosecutor to explain the red metered postage stamp. Then watch their jaws drop. Doing this is especially potent if you also have asked the prosecutor to provide his bar number, since most attorneys in court, especially in U.S., are not qualified. An attorney in federal court had better have a 6-digit bar card, or he committed a felony just by walking in and giving his name. Lastly, if you are charged with mail fraud, subpoena the prosecutors to bring in the evidence of which mail fraud is being alleged, as well as the originals of all envelopes used for mailing any item connected with the case. Then, the mail fraud involved was committed by the postmaster of the post office in which the envelope was stamped.